it's on. Let's get it.
Check, check. All right, cool. All right.
Yeah, I hope my mic doesn't die. Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, on another episode here at the Cusp of Freedom. I'm your host, Marvin TQ, and today I have a very special friend. Before we dive into the matter of discussion, I hope that you take everything we say here with a grain of salt. Mind you, we do all come from different backgrounds, and we all have different perspectives. Take what resonates with you and leave what doesn't. Without further ado, we will jump straight into it. So yeah, do you want to tell our guest your name, where you're from, and or you want to tell the audience your name, where you're from, and what you do, and how long you've been traveling for?
My name is Jared Hill. I'm from East Coast of the States, the U.S. Originally from Baltimore, Maryland, but have lived New York and D.C. and so many different places that kind of like from all over California for a long time. So it doesn't really feel like I don't know where I'm from anymore. It's kind of just blended in now. Yeah. I've been traveling since I was like 19 on and off, but this has been the longest stature of travel now, this year.
Interesting. Do you travel while you work, or do you just travel right now?
No, I travel. I have the privilege of being remote, being able to travel from running my business online. So I'm able to travel a little bit more now than I've ever been able to do before. So it's pretty good.
Interesting. So do you think that since COVID, since the industry changed from in office to remote work, a lot of people that had personal businesses like your own also adapted to the remote lifestyle or to the remote changes, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think COVID shut everything down and it made people go in their homes. Businesses still had to continue, so they allowed people to become remote, and I think that's going to change forever. I think it's so hard for people to go back once they figured out how to work from home. They figured out, hey, like it was like another great migration. People moved out of your Californias and your New Yorks, and they moved to Texas and Florida and different places that they've always wanted to move to. That was opportunity for them. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't think anybody's going back to being in an office unless they want to.
That's true. That's true. But I think that with like this whole digital nomad lifestyle, I feel like if you have a job and you're still depending on income, you're not truly a nomad, or you're not truly like independent as you could be. For example, if you had your own business like you. But again, the entrepreneurial path is a very lonely path that not many choose to go on.
Right.
When you were younger as a kid, did you dream of becoming an entrepreneur? Did you dream of what did you dream of becoming?
I didn't really have dreams of becoming an entrepreneur. I just know I wanted to work with my friends.
Okay.
I didn't actually know what an entrepreneur was. I knew that my father owned his own businesses, but I didn't actually understand what entrepreneurship was. I just knew that when you were coming up, like the biggest entrepreneurs I knew were like street guys, like hustlers. Like they were entrepreneurs. They were guys that had no bounds. Of course, what they were doing, wasn't exactly legal, but that was like the entrepreneurship that I saw was like street guys. So it was like, for me, I just knew that I wanted to create, as I started getting older, I wanted to create something that I could work with all of my friends together with. So that's kind of like
when you were growing up, what was your background like? Did you grow up in D.C. in the East Coast?
No, I grew up in Baltimore, so I grew up in Baltimore City. So my upbringing was a mixture of my mother trying to keep me away from certain places and me wanting to go to those places because
Okay.
my friends was playing. But my background was my upbringing was mostly sports.
Okay.
So when I played a lot of sports. So that's how my mother kept me busy. She only kept me out of the streets because I was always playing sports. Every season I was playing either soccer, lacrosse, basketball, football, anything you could name. Bowling, I was in the bowling league. So my mother did we didn't have any like downtime. Like we didn't have, it was school sports. So that was my mother's way of like keeping
me out of trouble.
keeping me out of trouble without her having to keep me out of trouble, without having to physically be there to monitor me. I was already occupied.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So growing up as a kid, playing all these different sports and being probably very athletic, did you dream of maybe joining a professional league?
Yeah, I was actually really good in soccer, believe it or not. I was amazing in soccer when I was a kid. I was super duper fast. I had great ball handling skills. I was being recruited in middle school, elementary school, middle school for high school teams. But my mother didn't actually see that path as like something that could get me into college. So we kind of backed off of it. And I started playing football, I started playing basketball. And I played the sports. You play the sports that your friends play. You play basketball because everybody plays basketball. Not everybody plays football. I mean, not everybody plays soccer. So.
Interesting. So you'd say your mom had a huge influence on the path you took early on. Had she let you pursue your dream of soccer, you probably won't be here.
Yeah, I probably would have, if I would have pursued soccer and baseball, I probably would had probably like a full ride in college. Definitely my trajectory would have been different with soccer and baseball. Baseball I probably could have taken all the way to college, collegiate level. Who knows if you can go to the MLB or whatever, but I just know that the path I went on, it led me to here. So.
And there's no regrets going back, yeah?
I mean, you just can't. You just can't go back. You can't until they figure out a time machine. we can't do anything but like think about where we would have been or how we would have done it. So.
All right. So when you went to college or high school, whatever, your mom wanted to put you on a path to go to college. What did you choose as a major in college if you went to college?
Well, I went for a little bit. My major was business and finance. I wanted to go to business school, but I didn't want to sit in college long enough. Okay. So I was at Maryland for a little bit. I just wanted to travel. I really wanted to travel. I really wanted to get the hell out of Baltimore. I knew the world was bigger than just a few cities.
How did you know? Did people around you knew as well? Like what?
Well, I mean,
what made you?
my mother used to take us on these Sunday rides after church.
Okay.
And we would leave church and she would drive up to like Pennsylvania, or she would drive up to like Western Maryland. She would just like
take some road trips.
Yeah, just short road trips. Like basically like.
That is important.
She would take the back roads and she was like, all right, where we go, make a left or right. And we would literally just choose left or right. And we didn't know where we were going.
Wow, your mom is pretty cool.
Yeah, so she would just make us choose directions to go in, and we would end up in somewhere else. Wow, Pennsylvania, Western Maryland, Northern Maryland. We would be 2-3 hours away from home. And once she figured out where she was, she would find a highway, and then she would just like take the fast track home.
Wow,
but that's what we used to do after church.
In perspective, look at where you're at now because
right.
of that.
It made me understand that all you got to do is make a left or a right, and you could end up in a completely different environment.
Facts.
Yeah.
Big facts.
It's just exposure. I think a lot of people aren't exposed as a kid to getting out. Once you're exposed to being busy and getting out, you don't have that fear of not staying so contained to where you grew up.
Facts. Big facts. So yeah, in college, you had a travel bug, so you majored in business, I guess, like, was business like your original, like your personal choice of a major, or did your mom influence that as well?
Oh, no. Actually, when I started out in school, I wanted to be a marine biologist. Okay. I wanted to study aquatic life. I knew I wanted to dive. I used to always watch the Discovery Channel, and dudes were scuba diving and looking at animals and taking care of the ocean. So I actually wanted to be a marine biologist. I wanted to get a PhD from Scripps in San Diego. It's a marine biology school. I had a whole plan. Like, I was going to go to the school, do my undergrad at Maryland, transfer to San Diego, go to Scripps. And then I figured out how much marine biologists made. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to make $50,000 a year. Even if I'm happy as a marine biologist with like $200,000 worth of debt of college or whatever, trying to get a PhD in marine biology. So I said, nah, maybe finance might be better. I knew I was good at sales, so I was like, maybe I could just do finance. So I looked at that and, wound up getting a job just getting a bunch of different jobs until I was able to travel for the first time. So
Interesting. So were you working while you were in college, and then when you were able to travel, you kind of like stopped college and traveled? Like how did?
yeah, I got a job on a cruise ship.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in a restaurant and bar industry. I've always been in sales, some type of commission-based job, whether we're selling shoes or something to do with commission, whether it's insurance or something. And I've always,
You've always been in sales.
I, so I've always been into sales. I've always been into like commission-based jobs. So I was serving tables, right? I was serving tables, bartending, doing my thing. And then I think at like 21 or 22, I got an opportunity to go to. I was like, yo, I gotta get the hell out of here. So I applied for a company in London, then I applied for a cruise ship. And how I figured it out was I was like, who would pay me to travel? And I looked at different companies and different things that pay people to travel. And there's some in business sales and different. At the time, it was business business consulting. So I made up a resume. It was a shitty resume.
Yeah.
I made up a resume and thought like this top tier team in London would come get me, with this shitty half-made resume. I'm like, yeah, this is good. Sent it in. Shitty resume. And then I put a real resume together for a cruise line. And I had a lot of experience in the restaurant industry. They called me back and they was like, hey, we would love to have you. And then the process was like really, really long and really, really unorganized to get on this boat. But I finally get on the ship. It was like a celebrity cruise ship owned by Royal Caribbean. And I get on it and we did 33 different countries in like 11 months.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it was like, from once I did that, I was like, oh, it's a wrap. Like literally a year later, I moved to California. Like it was, you came back to the States after traveling so much. You stay, you just go. You're just gonna go. You're like anything you want to do, you're gonna go do it. Because you'll go to sleep in one place on a boat, and then you'll wake up in another place, or you'll go to sleep in one time zone, and while you were sleeping, the boat was traveling to a different time zone, and you wake up and you're like, the time is different.
Yeah.
So you get used to that for 11 months. You do that straight, brute. Do you have no more fear of what's out there? You're just traveling. It's good. So yeah.
Facts. So you come back to the States after this cruise ship, and you moved to California after, I guess, dropping out of college from your business major.
Well, I had been left college.
Okay.
I did like a year and a half, 2 years of college, and I was out.
Okay. So you come back to the States, you moved to Cali. What was next? What was your next endeavor? Like, what did you get into?
Well, we had a plan to move to California we were in Baltimore, and the plan was we're going to become actors and directors now. A friend of mine, and that's the only thing that makes sense with all this personality I had. I got to act and direct. So we moved to Texas first for a year, and then we moved to California. I just knew I was ready to go. So Texas was closer than California, so I moved to Texas with a 4-year with a roommate, and then wound up going to California. So
was the move easier because you went with a friend, or would you have made the moves if you were lonely?
everything seems easier when you do it with a person. I tell people all the time, lifting a couch by yourself is pretty hard, but if you have one more extra person, it's pretty easy. So doing anything with somebody else that's on the same wavelength as you, or going the same direction as you, it's always easier. It's always easy to have some support. Now, what isn't easy is if they change their mind, or if they're not as ambitious as you, because people talk about a lot, but it doesn't mean that people are going to actually do it.
Facts.
It doesn't mean that people are going to actually follow through. So that's what makes teams dynamics kind of hard.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Facts.
when people don't follow through. So
Interesting. All right. So in California, what did you become? And yeah, what did you become?
California, man, didn't become an actor, didn't become a director. Wound up going into fitness and stumbled into fitness by accident. Wound up going into fitness because I was broke.
Were you staying in LA?
Yeah, I was in LA, and the heart of LA. I was broke, homeless, Um,
Wow.
yeah. A lot of planes. So I was broke, homeless, needed a job, and needed like to be able to take a shower and work out.
Okay.
So I was like, where can I work out, take a shower, and chill if I need to, if I don't have any place to go, because I was homeless.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
so I was like, all right, dude, get my friend of mine did the same thing. He moved years ago and got a sales job. He had a truck. He slept in his truck, but he had a gym membership. He's like, bro, go to 24-hour fitness. It's open up 24 hours a day. He's like, you'll always have a place to shower. You'll always have a place to work out. You always have something to like keep your mind sharp. But get a gym membership. Keep a gym membership, and you can just sleep in your car. I didn't have a car either, so I was even less. So I got a job there, and I would work double. I would take everybody's shift. I would go to work in the morning, work all day, work extra hours if I could, get off, work out for 2-3 hours, and then we had executive locker rooms where it was really, really nice locker rooms, and it was like the regular locker rooms for everybody else. It was really, really nice one. I would just get my own locker and keep my work clothes in my locker so they would never get wrinkled. So you have to do some editing. So I would keep my clothes in this executive locker room and hang up my shirts so they were nice. Hang up my pants so they were really nice. Shoes, underwear, shaving, all the little stuff. And I would keep it in that locker. And then with me, I would just take my stuff with me that I needed, but I was always, no one ever knew that where I was like sleeping or I was homeless. No one ever knew it because I would like keep all of my clothes like looking like I had an iron board and iron, but they didn't know that I would work, nicely tuck my pants and my shirt and my pants, and then like as soon as work was over, I would take it off and put it on a hanger so it would never get wrinkled. And I would nicely fold my pants so they would never get wrinkled. So, and kept a different pair of shoes and socks.
Before we continue, what did those hard times like? What was your takeaway from those hard times in life, or those moments of like, you feel alone, adversity? What was your takeaway from that experience?
California makes it easy. Warm weather makes being homeless easy. You don't have to go through everything. I don't think you have to go through being homeless to have a great story. I don't think you have to go through all the adversity in the world to have a great story. That was just my story. That was just what I did and what I went through. Because I was going to go all in, but I didn't have a financial plan. I didn't have great long-term financial disciplines. So when money ran out and you don't know anybody, there's not a lot of places for you to go. So, but for me, I just knew I wasn't gonna leave California. I was gonna make any dream that was a dream come true.
Facts.
One thing I know I couldn't do is leave. You can't be in California if not in California. You can't continue to work at a goal or a dream if you're not there. So I just knew I wasn't leaving. So when I went through what I went through, it was hard, but it wasn't hard because it wasn't that hard because I knew this was temporary. It's gonna change.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna get out of this some way or another. I'm gonna get a job. I'm gonna make some money. I'm gonna find a place, and then I'm gonna be not homeless anymore. And then I did. It was uncomfortable for a while. I slept in the airport. I slept on park benches. I slept on buses. I slept on the subway, the train. I slept on the beach under lifeguard towers. Like, I just slept wherever I needed. All I needed to do was when the sun went down, I got to get a couple hours of sleep, and then the sun is up, and then it's beautiful again, and everybody's outside, and I got a gym membership, so I'm not gonna be dirty.
Facts.
You know what I mean? I keep a few bucks to get something to eat, and so what I would do is I made friends. They had houses, so what I would do is we would all go grocery shopping together and meal prep together. So I would meal prep. I learned how to meal prep because I was homeless. So I'm getting into fitness without me trying to get into fitness. I already played sports, was already kind of training friends for free.
Yeah.
we would meal prep at their house. I would put the meals like for the week or 2 weeks in Ziploc bags, and then mark chicken, fish and veggie, chicken and veggie, no rice, and I would take those bags and stick them in a freezer at work.
Okay.
And I would have food. I would just take them out, put them in the refrigerator. No one used the freezer. Everyone used the refrigerator at work. No one needs to freeze anything. They have a house. I don't have a house. So I would put the food in the freezer and then take 1 or 2 bags out for the like a couple of days. Eat that. That was my food. I'm eating smart. I'm getting in shape. I'm learning about the place I'm living in. I'm making a little bit of money. I'm starting to save it a little bit so I can get a place. Right? So that's kind of like how it went. It went because I was always looking for a solution. I was never looking at the problem.
And you never gave up. Like you had faith. Like it was temporary.
Yeah, I just really did. My brother calls me, I'm obnoxiously optimistic. So I don't believe things aren't going to work. I don't believe things are just not going to happen for me.
Facts.
Like, so my belief system in who I am, or just, fuck it, I'm not leaving. That's pretty much the kind of attitude I had. Like, I ain't leaving. Like, no matter what, I ain't leaving. You're going to have to kill me. I'm not leaving. And when I adopted that, it kind of helped make things feel like it was going to be okay. So that's what it was.
Okay, I see. All right, so you work at this gym for a while. How long were you there, and what was next? Like, what was the next?
I did that for like, I want to say I worked there for almost a year, maybe less. And I hate it. I suck at jobs. So I wound up getting fired for something. I always get fired for stuff. I was never bad at jobs. I always got fired because I just can't be managed well. I was an entrepreneur before I knew I was an entrepreneur. Like I'm an entrepreneur because I'm fucking retarded. And like I can't work in a job. Like I just can't function being managed by somebody that like I know I'm smarter than. Like people they had their job to manage people, and I'm trying to do the job beyond the job.
Okay, I see what you mean.
In an hourly position.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do too much.
Not
I'm trying to create
the job under
the job, and they're like, bro, you're like a sales guy, and I'm trying to go after freaking upper management. So I was never really great at staying in my own position. I wanted to run and lead a team and do my own thing. So I always got fired for like dumb stuff, being late, or I got fired for training somebody that I wasn't supposed to be. I wasn't even a trainer, and they're like, "You're training somebody, and it seems like you were doing it like you're training on that hour." And I'm like, I was trying to grow an Instagram page at the time, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna train people online." Didn't know what I was doing, and I was putting it on Instagram, and they was like, "Oh, we're gonna fire you because it looked like you were trying to train someone." And I was just lying and making Instagram before everybody was doing it. It was like 2013.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, it's like 2013, 2014. And I'm messing around with Instagram for the first time. But I was there for like a year. I also got a bartending position at a gay bar in West Hollywood.
Okay.
And so I would go to the gym, then go to the gay bar and work, and this shit was hilarious. Like this gay bar was fucking hilarious.
Interesting.
It was funny time, man. But yeah, but I was there for like I didn't keep jobs for more than like a year, and then I moved around, started serving tables and doing other stuff. But yeah, I really got into fitness. Once I got into fitness, everything started making sense.
Yeah, let's speak about that. What happened when you start getting into fitness, and how did you build?
I found group fitness. After group fitness, I found group personal training. My first job ever, amazing. Well, I started dealing a little bit in the Herbalife phase, doing that as well. That was a great community. They had these fit club things, and I was going to that in California. It was like a sense of community, so something I could stick to. It was awesome, positive energy and business development and all these things. They had all these things going on, and it was amazing. But then one of my team leaders introduced me to Santa Monica. And not only did she introduce me to the area, she introduced me to a guy who ran a studio Rafael Rivera owned Circuit Works in Santa Monica. And I auditioned, was brand new, didn't even have certifications yet. And I sucked, and he still gave me a spot. It was like, look, Jared has the energy, he has the tenacity, he has the personality for this. Like, give him a job. Dude gave me a job. Shout out to Ralph. Dude gave me a job, and I sucked. Sucked at first.
Thought you said you never sucked at your job. Just kidding. Go ahead.
I did. I sucked in the beginning. But then I kept at it and got my shit together and started taking things more seriously and started to have pride in my own thing, like your own brand. I started realizing that I was the brand and I have to take responsibility for me and have my music together and my cueing together and know the program and know this and that. So I started becoming like, okay, I want to learn. I want to learn how to be good at stuff. And that's when it started to click. And that's when I started to really invest in my own self-education.
Okay.
So from that, I got to be at other fitness gyms and other stuff, and I started getting more certifications and NASMs and ISSAs and just different certs, and I started getting all these different certifications. Started to work with some people at UCLA and went through that type of training, worked for some great gyms like Equinox and all these other great places, and I just kind of because I kept doing well, I kept elevating and kept being able to walk into a place with a resume and they say, yeah, absolutely, come. Look at your resume, this is great, you're doing all this stuff. And I started becoming really, really good at it. So persistence, education, execution, and enjoyment allowed me to really started to excel in the field of personal training, fitness, group fitness, and just getting in shape. I was looking fucking fantastic, ripped.
How long were you working there before you realized, wow, I'm really fucking good at this?
A few months, because they kept telling me I suck.
Okay.
It's like, yo, your class is horrible.
Interesting.
You got to make a change, or we got to maybe move you into the front desk until you can kind of they were giving me the 3 o'clock in the afternoon class, 3 people there, and then out of nowhere, the owner came in and I did a class, I think somebody had to sub out, and I filled in a 9 o'clock class, and they was like, I don't know, who'd you get to cover your class? They was like, Jared. They was like, oh, shit. I hope he did. Jared, listen, stick to the script, play your music, because this is one of their busiest classes, 7, 8, 9, and 12 is their busiest class time. So it's the prime class. All the nice, rich housewives come to the 9 o'clock class. They just drop their kids off at school. They come to work out. All the rich house moms are there, and the owners and everybody that's in Santa Monica making money, they're all at the 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock class.
I get it, the main clients.
They're at the premium classes. Don't mess this up. So I did it one day, and my music was on point, my class was on point, rocked it, and owner was like, great class. And then it went through the grapevines. Everybody heard about it. And it was like, yo, we heard you had a great class. And I just started stacking great classes on top of great classes on top of great. And then I became the guy that class you wanted to go to.
You became the great class to go to.
I became the great class to go to, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's 2000. So given that you became so proficient in your domain, given that you became so good at what you do, how long did it take you before you started, poaching your own clients?
Well, the thing about group is when you're in group personal fitness, like these boutiques that you see, like a Barry's Boot Camp or a Circuit Works or SpeedX or these different smaller boot camps, you're watching other veteran trainers run their business. So you're watching the fact that I do group fitness, but this other trainer does group fitness and personal training. And then you start asking questions. You say, hey, yo, what's this? I have a private client. What's that? Well, I work on them one-on-one, and they pay me X amount of dollars. I said, what? They do what? They give you more money? Yeah, how much more? $100 is a week? No, per session. How many sessions they do? I don't know, 20 in a month? So it's like $2,000. I was like, yeah. Oh shit, I want to do that. How do I do that? And it's like you just keep asking questions and you figure out the answers to your questions.
Okay.
And then if you become skilled enough, you're able to do that as a business. Like people think they can run businesses because they think about it. No, it's the thought process of the business, then it's the structuring of the business, then it's setting up the business, then it's running the business, and then profit is like way down the road. People think profit is up at front. Profit is way down the road. Profit is just it's just a reward of you doing something. And depending on how well you do it is how well you get paid. You know, so it was like I figured out I could make more money in an hour if I had some personal clients as well. But you got personal clients from your group sessions because people know you in group and they trust you and they have a relationship. So that built my personal training business. And it was really, really hard. I think the hardest place to grow a business is the LA.
Interesting.
Easily.
What made it so difficult?
Because the people don't have a sense of urgency. It's not like New York. It's not like other places. It's not like Miami where people really go after it. They want it. LA was like, oh, I think I want it, but we'll see.
Okay.
It was very lackadaisical, standoffish, like, we'll get there when we get there type of thing. It wasn't like, go, 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 we need it now. And so that was hard to balance being from the East Coast, being excited, needing money, always needing money because you're still not out of the bottom yet. You're still one couple weeks away from being right back on the street
Right.
because LA is so expensive. So you always feel like you're playing catch up.
Right.
So it's like once you figured out how your environment works and how to market yourself to the people and how to get those clients and then how to keep those clients. Once you figured out that, then you could start having an apartment and then you could start having your own business. Being solely reliant on yourself to make dollars is not easy. Because when shit falls through, it's on you to replace it.
Yeah.
You gotta, and people don't know, you gotta always be having something in the funnel. You gotta always be having somebody on standby just in case clients leave you. And they do. They leave you all the time. And they sometimes do a mass exodus. You might not lose one here. The beauty is like if you lose one here, one there, and they replace themselves, normally you lose a couple at a time for all different reasons. So
would you say that's one of the biggest challenges of running your own business? Not being able to predict when clients are going to leave or not?
I think the hardest part of running your own business is knowing that you don't know how to run your own business. It's like no one gives you a handbook unless you go to like business school and you learn some accounting and you learn some great financial fundamentals. There is having a passion and then there's running a business. I'm really good at training, but I don't know the business side of running a business. I don't know the accounting side. I don't know how to make a spreadsheet, and I don't know how much cash flow versus expenses and, you know, debt versus profit and how to separate it and get several different bank accounts and look at your income from a monthly or 3 month in advance type of thing, a quarter.
Yeah.
You don't know to look at it far enough ahead so you can plan out how much you're actually making. You're just excited to get a fucking client.
Yeah.
And you're like, I got some money, yay! Like, I'll survive another month. But you don't know how to structure it to the point where you're like, okay, this much is coming in, and this much is going to expenses, and this much is going to go to taxes.
But you don't really get to that part until you, like you said, you structured and you're running your business, and you get to see, like, you get to predict or anticipate, like, the income versus the outcome. You know.
But yeah, because most people are doing a hustle or following a passion. But when you say I'm a business owner, all of that stuff has to go into it. All those different factors have to start being in the forefront of your mind. You have to start looking at your business like an actual business. You have to start looking at your passion like an actual business. You got to start looking at your whatever, you're flipping, you're selling, you're doing whatever, and set it up as a business if that's your main stream of income or your only stream of income for the most part.
Nice. Big facts. What do you think is one of the, for anybody that would have been in your shoes, right? From the time that you were homeless up until the time where your classes became the most proficient and that group session, what do you think would set that sets you apart from the normal or average person that would have gone through that phase, especially from the time that you started your business? Where do you think most people would have fell off?
Most people are gonna fall off doing when I was homeless. They're not gonna make it through that. I don't quit. I don't quit or complain. So things that bother a lot of other people don't really bother me. Like going through hardship or change or being reprimanded. Most people can't even go through being reprimanded. Most people aren't built tough. I was built very tough because I grew up in a very tough city. I had to be tough. And then my mother wouldn't allow me to my mother taught me very on to have some tough skin, like everybody's not gonna be your friend. Everybody's not gonna like you. Like get over it. Everybody's not gonna fucking like you. Everybody's not gonna be your buddy. And so dealing with the adversities of like seeing life and dealing with the adversity of seeing violence and drugs and crazy city made me endure like little stuff. And then again, I'm obnoxiously optimistic. So for me, I just believe it's gonna work. And I don't mind going through whatever this shit is in the beginning for it to work. What makes me different from everybody else, all those things combined, plus the fact I don't stop. I don't quit. I'll fail.
Facts.
I'm willing to look stupid. I'm willing to look like I don't know what I'm doing because I don't. I'm willing to go through all of the ugliness of it so that it can get pretty. I can start to look good. I'm willing to endure way more than most people are. That's the only real difference. I'm not there's way smarter people than I am. There's way, I don't know, more put together people than I am. But I pass them because I don't stop.
You're resilient.
I'm just too dumb to quit. You know, I'm just too, like, I don't know if I'm like, yeah, I'm just like too, like I told you, I'm like that thing that makes people be like, whoa, okay, that's too much. I don't have that feeling. I just go right past it's too much and be like, I can take this shit. Like, I'm the guy that walks on the coals. And they be like, Jared, you're on hot coals. I'm like, oh, okay. And I just keep walking. I just don't have that thing in my mind that makes fear take over and make me want to stop.
Interesting.
And that's the difference I see. Most people are gonna quit. Most people are not gonna willing to go through being homeless to succeed. And I am. So when they stop and I just keep going, I come out of nowhere. Well, how the fuck did Jared get all the way up there? Oh, he was crawling while you were like
giving up and not going.
You had a car. And you didn't want to wake up one morning, but he didn't mind getting on the bus to go across town. Like, I used to show up at workouts on the beach, and the leaders of the workout would say, yo, dude, you go harder on the bus than people who have cars do. Like, I just never make an excuse about why I can't get there.
Yeah.
I don't have a car. Okay. Can you get on the bus? I don't have no money for the bus. Okay, you got a bike? Like, what is it going to take for you to get there?
What's the solution?
What's the solution? What is the solution? Don't come to me with the fucking problem. Don't talk to me about the problem. What is the solution? What the fuck are we gonna do?
Facts.
How are we gonna move forward?
Facts. I like
Period.
That
You already told me the problem. You only have to tell me the problem once. Because the problem is still gonna be
the problem. Yeah,
the problem. Yeah, the problem is still going to be the problem.
Okay,
if you don't come up with solutions, you will only be worried about the fucking problem.
Big facts. Oh my God, I love that. Okay. So for someone that's I guess like if you could go back, right? given who you are today, if you could go back to become who you are, but without being homeless or without going through some of the adversities that you went through,
Yeah.
how would you state your happy path to becoming who you are, given everything you know? If you could go back?
I would have created deeper disciplines, self-discipline. Self-discipline to be consistently waking up and not being late. Self-discipline to not have self-destructive behaviors of spending all the money and not leaving anything left for savings. Something I'm in my 30s now still fixing. I'm still fixing building good financial habits. I think Mark Cuban says this, and it's very, very true. Any entrepreneur or person that's aspiring to run their own ship needs to have basic accounting. You need to know profit margins, and you need to understand basic numbers. This is how much I made. This is how much is gonna kick me in the ass at the end of the month. This is how much I need to keep. This is how much I got left. And I gotta figure out how to keep the ball moving with this little bit. Money management, I would have helped me not have to deal with so much adversity, because I was homeless like 5 times in LA in 8 years. Like, I won't say like 4 times. Whether it's sleeping on somebody's couch, you're homeless. Whether it's sleeping physically outside or sleeping in your car, you're homeless because you're not making smart money management. I would have just been better at managing my money, so when the hard times came, I had a little bit of money to add to it. And it's just something that you're gonna need for the rest of your life. Good financial management is something you're gonna need, because when that money comes in and you finally make it, and you're starting to make your $5,000 a month, $8,000 a month, 12, 10, 15, 20, and so forth, when you make 10 and you know how to manage it, you're on your way. You're on your way. If you know how to manage money well, and you know how to put it away and save it and move it around and hold on to it, you're straight when you get to like 10 G's a month. That's why so many people are doing all this internet talk. Like, I could teach you how to make $1 million and all this bullshit. Like, this person makes $60K a year. Teach them how to get to 200K. You don't need to teach them how to get to $1 million, because if they have good money managing skills, they can go to 20 a month and manage that well. And in 5 years, they're a millionaire.
Facts.
Because they know how to manage their money. Like, it's not all about just saving. It is about putting your money to work, but it's really about keeping your money. It's not about making it. I'm really, really good at making money. I am horrible at keeping it. Horrible. I know how to spend my money, your money, and everybody else's money so well. Oh, I make it look good. I know where to go. I know where we can eat. I know where we can drink. I know how I want to travel. Hey, look, they got this place in the plane called first class. They bring you champagne. It's fucking awesome. How much is it? $5,000. We only have $6,000, Jared. It's okay. Spend it. And then when we get there, we have no money.
Figure it out.
Because I'm horrible at managing it. So, yeah, to answer the adversity question, adversity is normally a lot of adversity is self-inflicted.
Facts. I was about to say that. Do you feel like you?
Yeah, you're your worst enemy, man. Most adversity that you make it through is you're at war with yourself. And one part of your brain is trying to fucking sabotage you, and the other is trying to hold everything together, and maybe a piece of your brain just don't know what the fuck is going on. But it's really self-sabotaging. It's really learning how to manage yourself in different environments. So I tell anybody that's aspiring to work on their own, travel, be a nomad or traveling nomad or a business owner in one place, man, get really good at managing your finances. And it'll make your life so much easier, especially with men, us. Not so much with women, because they're gonna be all right. And most women are smart and they're prone to taking less risk because they're women and they have to. But really with us with men, nothing really is gonna mess with us. You know what I mean? We're men. But it's important for us, especially men of color, it's important for us to manage our finances better. We have to manage our finances better, and it'll help us in life later on. It'll help us deal with our insecurities. It'll help us deal with our self-sabotaging issues. It'll help us actually be able to get forward and not take so many, go forward, get back, go forward, come back, go forward, start over, go forward, start over.
Interesting.
It'll stop all of that if you learn how to fix the problem properly and move forward. That'll stop you. So that's one of the big things I would go back and fix, and it wouldn't have been so hard if I'd have had those skills.
Interesting. Wow. Now that we've discussed basically why and how you became a fitness coach as I have your own business, let's discuss a little bit about the challenges. Do you have any challenges like when you travel? Is your job harder when you travel? Like what are some things that you do to make your job easier while you travel?
I would say if you're going to travel and run a business, if you're going to travel and work, you need to get settled as quickly as possible. Like, so wherever you're going to go, whether it's a hostel or an Airbnb or a hotel, you need to get set up. So if your thing is like a routine, if you like to work out, if you like to be active, if you like to have a social life, you need to get set up as quickly as possible. So get in your hotel, figure out where you're going to work, figure out the Wi-Fi situation, figure out how, like your body and waking up, figure out your food, figure out everything you can to make feeling at home as normal as possible so you can get in a flow of work. Because if you're all over the place moving around, the hours are going to pass you and you're not going to have a lot of work done. And next thing it's Monday and you're like, oh, I'm going to kill it this week, but I'm not organized. So now it's Thursday and you're just really starting your week. So I would tell anybody that's traveling or moving around in their city, no matter where you are, get yourself set up. Figure out where, like I said, where you're gonna work, what you're gonna eat, where's your gym, where's your routine, so that you can start to flow in it, and you can stay on top of not getting behind. So once you're ahead, stay ahead. You got your foot on the gas, keep your foot on the gas. Don't get happy and lift your foot off the gas and be like, oh, I can relax. No, get all the way through it. Not saying that you can't enjoy yourself, but keep your foot on the gas while you're enjoying yourself. Like, know that, hey, I'm gonna enjoy myself tonight, but tomorrow I gotta wake up and go to this workout. I gotta wake up and do at least 4 hours of work. It's Saturday, I'm gonna at least put in like 4 hours of work. Sunday, I'm gonna put in maybe 2 to 3 hours of work and prep for the week. Like, don't let yourself in the beginning think that you can just have a weekend.
Facts.
Like I said, it's not. It's not slave work. It's not miserable, because we're in Colombia. Like, it's beautiful. It's amazing. Your life is good. It takes you some discipline to get to where you're trying to go. You're not completely set up, and most of us aren't completely set up. Most of us are building while we're traveling. Most of us are a few of us are actually established, and then they travel.
Yeah.
But most of us are going to travel and figure it all out as we're going.
Which is a bit harder.
Which is absolutely harder. But that's life. That's what makes it fun. That's when you're living.
Yeah.
When you're figuring it the fuck out, and you're like, but even doper is if you figure it out while you're traveling, then you're unstoppable.
Yeah.
Because now you can go anywhere, put your laptop down, get your room set up, bam, you in. And you're sharper than everybody else, because people don't have a sense of, they can't do that. They need stability, and they need all this stuff, and they need da-da-da. And you don't need any of that. That makes you really, really a sharp weapon for anybody, for any company, because you know how to change it up.
Facts.
Yeah.
Two things. How big of an impact do you feel like your decision making has changed thanks to the perspective you've gained while traveling? And what do you think is the effect on like a global scale if more people traveled and gained perspective?
Say your question one more time.
The first question is how does the perspective you've gained while traveling affect the decision makings you make? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Traveling, if you're an American and you start to travel, you realize you're not that big of a deal. No one gives a shit about you.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. Like, you get off of your own high horse. Like, as Americans, we believe that like we pay attention to everything and everyone, and we're just like, I'm me. Beat my chest, I'm me. Like, no one gives a shit. Because people here, like in different countries, are trying to just keep the lights on. They don't give a shit how cute you are, how pretty you are, how many followers you got, what you're doing in life. No one cares. So when you travel, it lets you get some source of groundedness. You get grounded when you travel because you see what real life is. You see what real struggle looks like. You see what real adversity looks like. You know, I watched that guy in Colombia, the guy that pushes that big wooden cart and he throws all the shit on the wooden cart and there's the two sides. And it's like a mule would normally pull this, but he's pulling it himself and he's walking with it up a hill.
Wow.
That's, oh my God. Like if you go to some of these mountains and hiking trails and there's shops on the way up and you're like, how the fuck did they get this food and these drinks up the hiking trail? And you're like, no, they put it on a mule or they put it in their backpacks and they take it up every morning. And you're like, yo.
I got it good.
I got it great. Oh my God, I can't believe I ever complained about life. I can't believe I ever like was fucking complaining. And when you travel, it makes you less of an asshole. You're less of an asshole. Like, you gotta like be able to look at that mother that's working so hard to make pesos, or that dad that's working extra hard to make pesos. Like, you know, we don't really know how good we got it. We don't really know how much of American spoiled little brats we are. You know what I mean? And it allows you to become a better person because you realize you ain't the center of the universe. Yeah. It's a big world out here, and all you can do, you're either adding to it in a positive way, or you're adding to the fuel in a negative way. You're either fucking it up or you're trying to clean it up.
Facts.
So
Facts.
It really allows you to understand, who do you want to be in this world? Who do you want to be? What do you want to be about? You know, are you a piece of shit or not? Like, are you a shitty dude? Like, are you a shitty guy? And it really makes you look at every part of your life.
You know, given that 2/3 of Americans don't have passports, what do you think would happen if 2/3 did have passports? Like, what do you think?
I think America would be way more balanced because we don't treat each other very well. We treat each other like shit. We think we own everything and we own nothing. Like, we don't realize in this world, especially as Americans, we don't own shit. Like, bro, this isn't yours. This isn't your world. This isn't your land. You're renting. You are a lease. You are here temporarily. You are renting this bitch. Like, this is not your shit. Like, you cannot just come through and trash it and treat it however you want because you think it's yours. It's my land. No, the fuck it's not, bro. Like, you are here for a temporary part of time. You're a kid and you do kid shit, then you're a teenager, then you're a young adult, and then you're an adult, and then you're old, and then you're gone. But we think while we're here, since it's mine, I can do whatever I want with it. It's like, no, bro, you need to take care of this for the next person to come along.
Yes, exactly.
And you got to clean up after your fucking self. Most of us are disgustingly, like, we have horrible manners. We have horrible, like, cleaning. Like, you know, we go to places, go to the beach, trash, throw stuff out the window, and just treat our world like it's like it's not important. Meanwhile, we wanted to do all this stuff for us, and we wanted to be beautiful, and we want to have all these experiences, but we don't take care of it.
Yeah.
I think we need to really realize that, like, we don't own this. We are renting. And how would you feel and someone took the most precious thing that you had and you gave it to them to rent, and they gave it back to you broken. They gave it back to you. Real quick, one of my clients let me use a step ladder to paint my apartment. I got paint all over his step ladder. And I kept his step ladder I told him I needed it for 2 days. I kept that bitch for like 3 weeks.
Wow.
And it had paint all over it. And he's like, hey, I need that step ladder back whenever you can. And I said, and I looked at the step ladder, I folded it up, I folded the step ladder together and was ready to return it to him. And I got to the door and I turned the light on and saw all the paint on the step ladder, white, gray, black paint, all over the step ladder. And I said, this is not how he gave me the step ladder. I'm gonna return something that he gave me out of the kindness of his heart. And I'm gonna return it back to him in this condition? What does that say about me? Oh, here, yo, I gave you your step ladder back. Damn, he'll probably never want to give me anything ever again. So I called him and said, hey, listen, I was gonna return your step ladder to you today, but I can't do it because it's not in the condition you gave it to me. What I did was I got online, I went to Home Depot, I looked up how much a brand new step ladder, a Gorilla step ladder was, the exact model. I had it shipped to his house and he had a brand new one. I got to keep a ladder, I got a ladder, and he got a brand new one. And now our relationship is still good because of the fact is that I had respect enough to say, hey, listen. And that went a long way in our relationship. I didn't even know. He was like, man, I really appreciate what you did. And you don't know how treating someone well is gonna help them. And you don't know how treating your environment well is gonna help the environment. When COVID happened and we all went inside, the earth healed itself. Fucking oceans was clearing up, the ozone layer closed up, animals was mating and coming out, fish and everybody was, the earth does not need us. We are the cancer. We are the cancer. We are the fucking problem. It's not the earth. Earth is fine without us. Trust me, it's fine. It's us. And I think if we had more passports, this truck is killing us. If we had more passports and we traveled and not just did cruises and went to all-inclusive resorts where we could be fat fucks and eat for 5 days and not see any culture, we could do what we do, be with the people, then you would come back to America and you would treat people better. You would have a different perspective of life. You would look at your life differently and realize how privileged you are and how well you have it in life. And you would be a better person. Traveling makes you a better person, especially if you open up yourself to and respect the places that you are. But you have to have respect. If you're just an asshole when you travel and you don't give a shit, then you're just a shitty person. But traveling kind of makes you
not so shitty person.
Not so much of a shitty person. You know what I'm saying? It makes you change because you realize, like, damn, these people are still finding happiness and they don't have anything. They don't have a quarter of what I have back in the States. But yet they're still happy. They're connected with their family and who they are. And it's the best shit ever. You know, traveling is the best thing you can do with your life. Figuring it, going to different places and seeing different cultures and when you realize you can't be this super cocky person because you don't even speak the language. And now people are looking at you frustrated like, what do you want? And you're like, no, yo say. You don't even know this. Tu quieres es? And you don't speak the language. And now you're like, you kind of bring yourself down a little bit. And you're like, all right, I got to work on myself a little bit more. And then you start speaking a little bit more Spanish and it starts to roll off. And then you're like, oh shit, you start having pride. Yeah. And then, it makes you want to like, you grow. Now you're a person that speaks multiple languages. Now you're sexier. Now you're more attractive. So it's like, yo, it's it's so many little wins, little W's, and it's so much self-healing when it comes to traveling, and especially if you do it by yourself.
That's
You know, you just learned so much. You become a student of the world.
interesting.
Yeah,
Wow,
man.
interesting you mentioned that. Well, given we discussed why and how you became who you are, some of the adversities and things we need to become in order to overcome these adversities. We've also discussed the challenges that we face while traveling and ways we can mitigate these challenges. And finally, we discussed some key advantages of traveling and why it's important to gain perspective. Last but not least, I want to get your perspective on any life philosophy you live by, or somebody in our audience can take with them to be like, you're better.
Don't litter. Respect other people's cultures. When you travel, you're a guest. You are a guest in that person's home. You're a guest in that person's country. You are a guest. You be on your best behavior. Like, when you go to places, be respectful. It goes a long way. Say please, say thank you. Tip, because if you're coming from a place of a higher currency, just tip. $1, a peso here goes a long way. Like, versus it's not even $1 for us, so it's like tip. You're from the big bad first world. You're from the big sparkly Americas or Europe or wherever you are. You're from the first world. Act like it. There are responsibilities and duties that you have being of privilege. Come here with the privilege of saying, hey, listen, I'm from a richer place. Here you go. Help the economy. Help out. Help. Be of service. Like I said, treat people with respect. Be open to realizing you're not that big of a deal. You're just one person on your traveling journey. Be smart. Keep your eyes and your ears open. Ask a lot of questions. Learn. Be a student. You know, be a pupil. Be open.
Be a pupil.
Be a pupil, yeah. Really be a pupil. Like, really get out of your own way. It's just, there's so many things. It's so many, you want to, like, yeah, like, pay attention. You ever want to self-improve? You know, go to a place where no one knows your name and then try to make it. No one knows your name. Mommy and daddy can't help you. Friends are thousands of miles away. And then work on, that's how you work on yourself. Like, you know, go to a place where you need to self-improve. And I'm always looking to get better. So for me, when I go to a place, I'm looking for a challenge. I'm looking to grow. I'm looking to grow. So
travel mindfully and be a student.
yeah, travel mindfully. Be a student. Like I said, you're a guest. You are a guest in these people's country. You know, clean up after yourself. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. And it's just like the basic stuff that we learn that go a long way. Like, I don't have any problems when I travel. I don't get into any issues. Thank God. Knock on wood. You know, I don't get messed with or robbed or any of that other stuff. Why? Because I go outside with the mindset and the mentality to help. I'm not going outside like I'm the man, like, I'm going outside like, hey, can I help your day? Can I help you out? Thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, you know, buenos dias, gracias. You know, hasta luego. You know, like, I'm going out to be part of, I'm a guest. You know, you wake up early, you get out there, you know what I mean? Like, how do you act if you were the best guest in someone's house? You know, you try to clean up. You try to help them out with dishes. You try to help them out with a meal.
That's a good way to put it. That's a really good way to put it. Well, it's been an honor and a pleasure having you on this podcast, Jay. And I hope for the audience watching, I hope you've resonated with most of what he said, because I know I did. And yeah, it's been an immense pleasure having you on the podcast, bro. You've shined a bunch of light, so thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much.
This has been a pleasure, man.
Let me turn this off.